Hey guys, so this video is about approximating square roots. I'm Jesseline. Hopefully you've been watching some of my videos, so hopefully you're enjoying them. So first of all, what is a square root? A square root, a lot of people get confused and think square root is division by 2. That's not true. A square root is saying to yourself, what number times itself gives me that number? So like the square root of 25, for example, the square root of 25 is 5 because 5 times 5 gives me 25. So that's what we're thinking about when we're talking about square roots. 5 times 5 gives me 25. So that's what we're thinking about in terms of square roots. So that is a perfect square, square root of 25. So let's just start naming all the perfect squares. And how you do that is just to go up and square each whole number. So like 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. So if we continue to do that, so like 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. 6 squared is 36, and so on. So these are all perfect squares up here. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. So, and then 7 squared, 49, 8 squared, 64. So those are all perfect squares. So knowing those and knowing how to square those really quickly, especially all the way up to 12 at least. 12 times 12 is 144. Knowing your perfect squares up to 12 times 12 is going to be really helpful for you. So here we go. Now I'm just going to draw a number line here. So I'm going to draw the number line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we're just going to go up to 6. So, and this is how I'm going to draw it. So up here, down here I have the normal number line. Then up here I have the radicals that match that, because the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 9 is 3, the square root of 16. So these are still equivalent to these numbers down here. So still equivalent to these numbers down here. And this type of number line is going to help me solve estimating square roots. So if I wanted to estimate the square root of 27, so I want to estimate it. So the square root of 27. So I want to estimate it without putting it into my calculator, because I know my calculator can give me the correct answer. What I'm going to do is, since I'm estimating the square root of 27, I'm going to look up top where my number line's already in square roots and see where that would lie. The square root of 27's got to lie between square root of 25 and square root of 36. And if I look down here, then I know my answer is going to be between the whole numbers of 5 and 6. I can even get more exact and be like, well, square root of 27, well, 27 is closer to 25, so that means that my answer is actually going to be less than 5.5, because 5.5 is halfway between 5 and 6. But since the square root of 27 is closer to square root of 25, then I can kind of estimate it. It's kind of actually really close to the square root of 25, that I'm going to estimate it to be around 5.2. Let's say I might be wrong, but I've gotten close to be around 5.2 to estimate it. So that's how you estimate square roots. Let's do another one. Let's say I want to know the square root of 14. I want to estimate that, the square root of 14. So I look at where the square root of 14 would lie. 14 would lie between 9 and 16. Those whole numbers are 3 and 4. So the square root of 14 is going to be between the whole numbers of 3 and 4. But if you look at up here, again, the square root of 14 is going to be closer to the square root of 16. So that means it's going to be closer to 4. But it's still between 3 and 4. Okay? So that means it's going to be above 3.5, because halfway between 3 and 4 is 3.5, but we know it's closer to 16. So what you're going to do is kind of just, you're going to be like, oh, maybe 3.8. 3.8, because that's in between 3 and 4, which we know the square root of 14 is, but it's closer to 4 than it is to 3. And 3.8 is closer to 4 than it is to 3. So this is how you kind of estimate square roots. Thank you for joining.